The transaction wheel has been spinning every day for the Guardians in terms of pitching, but we've got a minor league promotion to talk about today. CJ Kayfus reaches AAA. We'll get into what that means for his future and when that could come on today's Locked On Guardians.
Tanner Bibee of the Guardians, and you're listening to Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into another episode of Locked On Guardians. We always start on time here. Rain, sleet, or snow, or shine. There are no delays here. Thank you for making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day. Wherever you get podcasts, we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We cover your Cleveland Guardians every single day, from the majors to the minors, the draft, everything in between. We will get into the minors today. Of course, we'll get everywhere you need to go. We'll cover this game as well. On today, I am Justin Lada. I have been watching Cleveland Guardians baseball my entire life. I have been writing about their minor league farm system since 2007. You could find my prospect analysis at nextyearincleveland.substack.com, the Morning Journal, the News Herald, and here 5 days a week with my friend and co-host, Jeff Ellis.
I am Jeff, the Mute Man Ellis. Before I came to Locked On, where I was one of the first people they brought on to talk about baseball way back in the day, I used to be a nationally recognized prospect and draft analyst at Scout and 24/7. A man who yesterday said off air, maybe they should have Gabby Arias hitting too.
Yeah, that one didn't quite make it on air, but here he is hitting two. He's got a hit tonight in this game. If for those who were jumping in because of the delay, we are recording midway through game one or this game, so we probably won't finish the game by the time this episode is over. But we will cover it towards the end of this, and we'll get into it more on Thursday's show as well. On today's Locked On Guardians, though, we are going to talk about CJ Kayfus' promotion to AAA, what that means for him, what it means for his future, where that might happen for him. We had an interesting comment about the Guardians didn't add enough pitching depth in the offseason. We're going to talk about the offseason moves and where the Guardians are at pitching depth-wise and what they did, and discuss what more could have been done. And then we will also check in on the Game 2 action of the Twins and Guardians with Tanner Bibee on the mound trying to stop the bleeding for the Guardians at the end of today's show. Before we get there, this episode of Locked On Guardians is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. I was not expecting, Jeff, the promotion of CJ Kayfus to AAA. I have to be honest with you. I was looking at the depth chart, and this is where I want to start. The depth chart in AAA is very interesting because there are first base at bats open because Mike Capriz is there, and as much as you and I like Mike Capriz, I think as a former sleeper prospect, a person, and the family and the friends and all that stuff, unfortunately at age 27, it just hasn't happened for him, and he's not really a guy who can be a priority right now. Juan Brito is playing some first base. There's been some other guys who have filled in at first base there, so there are first base at bats there. I was kind of hoping if CJ Kayfus was going to go to AAA, it would be more of an audition in the outfield. But the outfield at AAA is very crowded. So, like, they're going to give Petey Halpin reps in center field, right? Like, he's on the 40. They're going to keep going in that direction. Jonathan Rodriguez is going to stay there playing for depth purposes, the AAA MVP at this point. So they're not going to take bats away from Jonathan Rodriguez, right? Will Brennan is playing every day there. I don't think they're going to change that necessarily. Like, I don't know if you can consider Will Brennan a priority anymore, but he is on the 40 and he's an option if you need him. If something happens. I don't know if he's going to make any adjustments at age 27, the same as Mike Capriz. As much as I used to like, I still like Will Brennan, but I don't know if it's going to happen. So I would have liked to have seen Kayfus get more of an audition in the outfield because it could have meant the opportunity for him to impact the big league club this year. But I kind of see him playing more first base in AAA at this point, and we'll see how the outfield rolls. Maybe there's an opportunity for first base down the road, which we can talk about in this segment. But I was definitely surprised just based on depth for Kayfus going to AAA. But more than deserving. I mean, he was good at AA last year, was hurt at the end of the year, but still had a fantastic time in AA for the most part before the injury. And he's been off to a great start this year. So it's not like it wasn't deserved. I also am just very surprised he made the AAA this quickly. I mean, he's got less than about 300 at bats at the AAA level, 300 plate appearances. That's a little bit quicker than the Guardians' normal timeline, even though Kayfus is more of an advanced prospect in terms of, Cape experience and high level college experience.
Yeah, he's got 85 games at AA, which is pretty quick for them.
Yeah.
I think it's a situation where, I know every day or Dave Wendell is probably doing backflips as he's a big Kayfus guy. But, the honest goodness truth is on a very basic level, he's just been a dominant force at every level. Like, he has been a good hitter. When you look at the end of the year stats, we know last year in AA, there were some ups and downs with it, but still, he ended that year with a 142 WRC plus. The nice thing this year, yeah, he's technically repeating, but it's not like it was a full year, but he's really cut down on a strikeout rate while maintaining that healthy walk rate. Now we know how walk rates don't necessarily translate, but still good to see one. Like, it's because here's the thing, if you got a poor walk rate, it's not like you're going to get to the big leagues and have a good walk rate. Like, a poor walk rate's always going to stay that way, but a good one means there's a chance of maintaining it. It's not 1-to-1. That's why walk rates don't matter as much. But you look at things like I've talked about BABIP being a sign of positive contact rates. His have been great. There's a lot of really strong indicators. Really, the only question, the reason I was a little bit lower on him by the end of last year as opposed to the middle, was he did struggle with velocity. And I don't have that data right now, but I'll be very curious to see how he handles velocity and then how he handles. Once you get to AAA, you're facing all the quad A guys, the guys whose command and control are pretty good, just not good enough often to translate, or you're facing top prospects on the verge. So it's tough. A lot of guys get up there, and it used to be you hit AAA and then we're just counting the minutes for you to get to the majors. It hasn't been that way in a few years, though. Like, a lot of players get to AAA and stumble. It's become more than it used to be, and I think it's because of the condensing of the minors.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. I agree.
I feel like AAA has gotten a lot more difficult, that transition, than it used to be. Like, that is a tough transition. And I think part of this, honestly, here is like, he's handled AA. Let's see what he can do in AAA, because we don't know if Chase Lada is ever going to be healthy. We don't know. You can't count on him. Nolan Jones has some decent data, but he hasn't quite performed to the data yet. And when you look at Kayfus, he gives you, the other side of it is, I know Noel's playing today, but Noel it's been rough, and he would give you, so I guess Noel is right-handed, not left-handed. But I think with Kayfus, it's just, you're getting your best hitters in terms of performance, and you're pushing them up and you're elevating them, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where you slot him. He could slot in a few different spots. He may not be good at them, but they've had some butchers in the outfield. If he continues to hit, he's going to be an improvement for this team.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'd like to see him get more time in the outfield, because then he'd get a real chance to impact the big league club this year. There is a chance he can impact first base this year if things go well, but that really means things went poorly for Carlos Santana. And we've talked about how David Fry can't play the field this year. So,
agreed.
We'll talk more about, we'll talk more about Carlos Santana, I think, on tomorrow's show, just kind of talking about how things are looking 1 month in at this point. So we'll talk about Santana a little more. But if things don't continue to go well for Santana, there's an opportunity there for, Kayfus, Manzardo, Fry, but you're kind of back in the same situation, except in theory, you could throw Kayfus into the outfield if things go well. And you're absolutely right. AAA is a good proving ground. Like, it's a tougher level than it used to be. So the Guardians, and I think all teams echo this sentiment usually, but the Guardians, I know, specifically say, the player tells us when he's ready for the promotion. The Guardians have been notoriously slow about promoting guys, mostly due to playing time. The playing time is there for CJ Kayfus in theory, but they always say the guy tells us when he's ready. They have had opportunity open for guys before and not promoted because they are slow playing. Maybe their guy, they don't feel the guy is ready. They tell him when he's ready. For Kayfus, he's done everything you could ask to do in the minors. Like, he's hit left-handers. He's hit pitchers older than him. He's hit pitchers younger than him. Believe it or not, last year at age 22, his first full season in pro ball, 421 of his almost 480 plate appearances last year, Jeff, were against older pitchers. So he was still seeing older competition most of his year last year between Lake County and Akron. And that's been the case for the most of this year, too. And the numbers are sparkling. They are good. So, yeah, he's going to have to go to AAA and face guys that are a little more polished, a little more breaking ball. And the challenge that we're learning about AAA for these guys is that the ball is different, right? So,
yes,
And that actually could be a benefit to CJ Kayfus, because we know that guys in AA are getting away with mediocre stuff and less stuff because the ball is different. So he'll have to make the adjustment of the ball being different. So breaking pitches might be a little bit different, things like that. But it should benefit him a little bit. He'll definitely have to face pitchers who have had major league success before, but that's what you want to see. You want to see if he can hit the 4A guys to see him get to the major league level. So I'll be very curious to see how they handle him in AAA, and keep an eye on how much he's playing the outfield, how much he's playing first base. That'll be interesting to watch, and just how he handles some of those quad A guys. If you could dominate them the way you dominated AA pitching, that's only a good sign. Jeff, I got one more comment I want to make on a possible promotion and playing time. We're going to talk about that next, and then we're going to get into pitching depth as well in the next segment. So stick around for the other prospect we're talking about promotion-wise on today's Locked On Guardians. We are all checking our accounts and our money these days. It's all in line. But you're checking your bank account, you might wonder where all my money went. We got dining, online shopping, entertainment. Very easy to lose track these days, the way we spend money. That is where Monarch Money comes in for you, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, your investments, your spending in one place. You can just stop managing money and build wealth. Don't think of money as something I just have to manage. Think about goals. Think about things you want to do with your money if you have the ability to do so. Don't just spend aimlessly. Don't save aimlessly. This is an app, not just any app. Monarch Money lets you manage your money and build wealth, build your goals, work towards your goals. It can track multiple accounts, personal accounts. You can set goals within Monarch Money. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with multiple accounts. You can do it with a partner. It has good collaboration tools. Monarch Money truly is a single personal CFO. It does build financial plans for you, and it gives you the flexibility to do all that. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use our code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your very first year. Jeff, the other guy I want to talk about in terms of promotion before we get into the question of whether or not the Guardians did enough this offseason to build pitching depth is Travis Bazzana. We had one of our insiders text me asking concern about Travis Bazzana not really hitting the ball that well in AAA or AA. He did hit a home run on Tuesday. That was good. It was a leadoff home run. He definitely needed that. It was only his second home run of the year. And the numbers at AA aren't bad. Like, he's got a 123 WRC plus as of Tuesday, recording this, 240, 360, 373. Definitely not numbers you would expect from the first overall pick in the draft. And the reason I bring him up is for promotions is Juan Brito is going to be out until, I don't know, June, maybe July. Like, there's a real opportunity for them to promote Travis Bazzana to AAA quickly if he starts hitting. Like, there's nobody blocking him. When Brito does come back, he doesn't have to play second base every day because it's his best position, but like, he's played first. He's played some outfield. He can play third. You can use him other places, DH, and that kind of thing can take care of itself as time gets here. So in the short term, they were pretty quick with CJ Kayfus. Now, Travis Bazzana's got 95 plate appearances at AA. He's not going to be promoted tomorrow, but if he starts to pick things up here, there's a real opportunity for him to get to AAA quickly with Juan Brito no longer there to take at bats. But you'd like to see Travis Bazzana hitting a little bit better. Like, he's walking. The strikeout rate is much higher for a guy who is a contact-oriented hitter because he's taking so many pitches. The passivity, to me, I think, is still the biggest issue for him.
Yeah, I diving into his numbers, it is interesting. Two things kind of stood out. I was trying to pull up park factors for AA. First one, he's struggling at Canal Park. Like, he is a much
Which a lot of guys do.
Yeah. 678 OPS Canal Park, 797, so almost 800 on the road. The other thing is he has some pretty wicked splits. His numbers 289, 373, 442. That's a pretty good line. That's against righties. Against lefties, it's a 130, 333, 217. So he definitely has some pretty ugly splits right now, which again, we see that with some young players, especially with as bad as college baseball has been. Matt, I just want to throw this out there very quickly. It's like, look at how much home runs dropped from last year to this year. There's much better pitching. There's also been some other changes, but I don't know if he faced a really good lefty last year. And when he did, I mean, Hagen Smith did own him a year ago.
That was it.
So
that was it.
That was the only lefty I can think of it. I mean, Hagen Smith owned pretty much everyone he faced, but Bazana had a very bad weekend. So when I look at this, though, it's like he is still hitting really well against righties. There's some other stuff going under the hood. Some things they're working on with him, but for anyone who's worried he's a bust, he's not a bust. It's gonna be fine. Like, busts at number 1 overall basically don't exist unless they're like a high school player. So when you're looking at the data, you see a lot of reasons why he could be successful and in what ways. And it's like, again, I'll just point out, like, the majority of the time, 80% of the innings are thrown by right-handed pitching. If you end up with him being a second baseman who's got an 800 plus OPS while playing second base, that is still worlds better than what they've had up the middle this year. Like, I love Gabby, but I'm scared. And last year, I love Gabby. I'm scared if that profile is it a heater? Can he maintain it? Rocchio, I've expressed my frustration with. Like, he's still doing a lot of things well, but I know we got to talk about pitching now.
Yeah, talk about pitching here. Tanner Bibee lost his perfect game here in the 5th inning. He was throwing a perfect game, and Ty France hit a middle home run, so it's tied 1-1 for the Guardians and Twins. But Tanner has been throwing a good game, so that's really good. They needed this from him.
It was actually a second hit.
It was a second hit. Okay, so he lost a shutout then.
Yeah, Gray hit a double the previous inning.
Okay, so he's had a fantastic game, so that's been very much needed for him. On the topic of pitching for the Guardians, we talked about pitching a lot the last couple of days already, but we had an interesting comment. Someone said that the team did not do enough to acquire pitching in the offseason. So I just want to go back and talk about where the Guardians are with pitching this year and where they were versus last year, because pitching's not great this year. Like, in overall, like, the bullpen's been okay. Obviously, Class A has not been great, but Cade Smith's has still been good, even if he hasn't been as good as he was a year ago. Heron and Gaddis are still good. Jacob Junis has been fantastic for them, and that's part of the offseason additions too. The Guardians really did go out of their way to add pitching this offseason. Like, Luis Ortiz is in the rotation. Let's remember last year, Jeff. This is a team that had, for all the reasons we love Carlos Carrasco, he was second on the team in innings pitched a year ago. Even ahead of Ben. Because Ben Lively missed some time a year ago, and Carrasco
he started
out
late.
At the end. Yeah. So this team had guys like, again, Spencer Howard, we talked about. Darren McKagan was a pitcher they used last year. They had some bullpen games. This pitching staff last year did not have, like, Joey Cantillo was a rookie a year ago. Xavier Curry, much as I love Xavier Curry, he was a guy they had to start last year too. But he started late because of a virus too. They had a lot of guys up and down in this rotation a year ago. They just didn't have a lot of depth. And the depth is definitely being tested this year. They added Seawald to the bullpen. He's hurt now. Franco Alamine and Eric Sabrowski got hurt in spring training. Andrew Walters is hurt. Nothing you could do about that. Those guys were all supposed to be part of the plan this year. Tristan
Nick
McKenzie
Enright as well.
Yeah, Nick Enright was hurt to start the year. He was an internal plan on the 40-man. Slade Ciccone, who's an offseason addition, hurt in spring training. Nothing you could do about that. That was a guy you brought in for depth. McKenzie was part of it. Now he's off the 40-man roster. These are just things that you're going to have to contend with. Like, the only thing I can say, look, they added, like, Vince Velasquez is up and Doug's on the 40, all that stuff. The only thing I think you can say, Jeff, is, like, they added bullpen guys. They knew Sam Henches wasn't going to pitch this year, but they added bullpen guys, and, Seawald's hurt, and Class A, nobody expected this from him. The only thing you could say is, like, okay, they did invest a good portion of money in Shane Bieber, knowing he wasn't going to pitch half the year. They did go out and add John Means. Those are, like, the only thing you could say is, like, okay, they targeted injured pitchers, but they were hoping they would have enough pitching to get them to June or July when guys like Bieber and Means could come back. They have more depth than they had a year ago, because last year when they signed Matt Boyd, that was midseason, and it was like, oh boy, they're signing Matt Boyd. I hope this is just like a fallback plan. Matt Boyd was crucial to them last year. This year, like, yeah, you hope Shane Bieber is crucial to them this year, but they were desperate to use Matt Boyd last year. This year, you have more options. You added more guys. It's just, the guys you added have been hurt. Like two of your offseason additions for pitching got hurt in spring training and just the other day. There's nothing you can do about it. This team was cognizant in adding pitching. The only thing you could say is the investment in Bieber and Means. Maybe you could have signed someone else who was healthier up front, but that's the only thing I can really say.
Means was $1 million. Like you're getting Elvin Rodriguez, who hasn't done much with the.
I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about like timing.
I know, but you money is always part of the equation, right? And it's like, even if you're out there being like, well, Santana's making 1.1 more million than Josh Naylor. It's like, again, that doesn't get you 1.1 million. All of a sudden you elevate up to Jose Urquidy and Patrick Corbin, who has pitched well in fairness, but it's so hard to add pitching. It's like, I know it is hard because Josh Naylor has been awesome this year as expected in that park, but they had to find ways to add pitching. And that's why they traded Jimenez and got Ortiz. It's why they targeted Slade Ciccone, who, again, I'm going to point out, both the Guardians and the Rays targeted that guy. Someone they targeted and lost out on, unfortunately, was Griffin Canning, who's been great. And, them and the Mets both targeted them. They tried to make some attempts there, but they went out and added a bunch of pitching. The problem is they have 9 guys, pitcher-wise, who have been hurt or missed time to start the year, who could have been with this team already. Like if Nick Enright was healthy through camp, he'd have been up before Vince Velasquez. If Trevor Stephan, his recovery is taking longer than Bieber's, and you were kind of hoping he would be in the, at least he's going to start soon. But they were relatively healthy outside of Bieber a year ago, and kind of Gavin Williams' situation, and then just the camp bug that happened this year. They've been beat up. We don't know what's going to happen with Seawald or Walters and guys like that, and kind of concerning Sabrowski. There's a lot more injuries to the pitching. They went out and actually their whole offseason focus was adding pitching depth. Unfortunately, they've just, you can never have enough pitching, and we're seeing that right now. Remember when everyone got mad because they added Seawald and Junis and that wasn't their need? It's like, you can never have enough pitching.
Yeah, could you imagine if they didn't have those guys right now? Like, you would have broke camp.
Imagine no Junis. It would be ugly.
Like Kobe Allard is up now. He would have broke camp with the team because they didn't have any other options. And probably Vince Velasquez, too. We could talk a little more about Vince Velasquez in a second. We'll also have to talk about Tanner Bibee's start. He just made a tremendous play that is currently under review as I'm saying this, but made a tremendous play. He's pitching great. He's giving the Guardians what they absolutely need on this night as they try to battle through a late start and a ugly start to the series pitching wise. We'll get into that on the rest of today's Locked On Guardians.
But first, one of my favorite sponsors in the world, the wonderful people over at Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is the Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I love Wonderful Pistachios. I type with a chili lime. That is my go-to. That is one I like to get. And the nice thing about a pistachio for a treat, for a snack, is all that protein is going to fill you up. If you eat junk food, it doesn't fill you up, and you just keep eating more and more. This way, you're getting those good unsaturated fats. You're getting protein. You're doing your body right with a snack that is good for you. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Wherever it is you get podcasts, we appreciate you being here with us today and every day. If you like what you're hearing, make sure you are hitting the bell on YouTube so you never miss a video, whether it's a full episode, a bonus episode, a reaction video, anything else we might be doing over on YouTube. Make sure you're auto-downloading on all of your audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that good stuff. Never miss an episode in your feed. That way you can get the Locked On MLB Squad Show every Tuesday, as well as part of the Locked On Guardians feed. It's where a bunch of our hosts get together, and we just kind of riff and talk about the storylines going in, how our teams are doing, how other teams are doing, how players are doing. Just kind of fun topics. We do power rankings, all that fun stuff, and it's a good opportunity to jab at each other, jab at teams, and It's a good time. So if you want a little bit of a whip around MLB show, check out MLB Squad Show. It's in your podcast feed every Tuesday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team, your sport, every day.
Is this where I jab at you for jinxing Tanner?
Yeah. Well, the play was overturned. It was a great play. It got overturned, and here it goes. Yeah,
he's safely out of the inning. So
he's safely out of the inning. But yeah, I didn't do any jinxing other than the play being overturned at first base. Still a great play. By the way, Tanner Bibee should have been a Gold Glover a year ago. I'm going to say that right now.
100%.
He was robbed of a Gold Glove, and that was a Gold Glove level play he made right there. Pitchers are athletes too. They definitely are.
The best ones are.
The best ones are. I'm really pleased with his effort tonight. Like, we've been saying this multiple times throughout the year because people want to be negative or get down. And if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel, but we talked a couple weeks ago about the Pirates series, how the Pirates aren't a good team and they swept them, whatever. The Guardians got their heads kicked in on Monday night by the Twins. They had to use a position player to pitch for the second straight day in a row for the first time in franchise history. So on one hand, someone might say, well, Tanner's going out and dominating the Twins. They're not a good team this year. We don't think their lineup is very good either right now with the guys they have on the injured list. Look at Royce Lewis back, whatever. You still got to go out there and do the job, which they did against Pittsburgh, which they did against the Yankees. They're doing it tonight against the Twins, at least Tanner Bibee is. So it's good that he's Tanner is putting together a second straight good start. We've seen a lot of these starters, Luis Ortiz, Gavin Williams, not be able to put together back-to-back good starts. Tanner already has a quality start going right now. I know some people don't love the quality start stat. 6 innings, 3 runs. I'm going to take that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to take it. You want more from Tanner, and he's giving you more tonight. The thing I'm most impressed with, it's one pitch. It's silly. But the first pitch of the game was a breaking ball. He didn't throw a first pitch fastball to Edouard Julien. Edouard Julien looked like he was ready for a first pitch fastball. So clearly the Guardians took note of the ambush hitting they're seeing against Tanner, against their entire pitching staff. He threw a first pitch breaking ball. It caught Julien off guard. And Tanner has been efficient. He's been good in this game so far. Again, say what you want about the Twins lineup. The Guardians had to have this one from Tanner in terms of conserving the bullpen and just getting things reset correctly. He has pitched a Tanner Bibee-like game in this one. That's all you can ask for him. I said yesterday you needed Tanner Bibee to be great today, and you do. He is great. He just has to be Tanner Bibee. A lot of cutters, a lot of sinkers in this one, not a lot of four-seamers. He's keeping them off the four-seam fastball. That's keeping the ball in the yard. I know he gave up one home run, which was the fastball down the middle of the plate. But overall, he's got them off balance. So this is exactly what you needed. It's an encouraging start overall.
Yeah. I mean, if you're complaining with 1 run through 4 innings, it's going to be a long season. He's done his job. He's done it well. Yes, I know people will complain about the offense. They had the opportunities. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But when you're looking specifically to, and what I'm looking at with Tanner is the 0 walks. Like, what has been the big bugaboo for him so far this year for a guy whose command and control have been
everybody,
great. But his is that's a defining trait for him. Gavin's always had some ups and downs with that. Lively has to work the edges so much. Sometimes his walk goes up because he is working around the edges. Tanner has just always excelled in that area. And then very weirdly this year, it was a big struggle. So to see the 0 walks in this one, that stands out. And then the 4 Ks, because he's also kind of struggled a little bit this year to put guys away. And yes, you can complain about the Twins lineup all you want. It's still a major league lineup. It is a team that's on a heater. They got the White Sox to turn them around, and then they swept the Angels, where, we were hearing at the time that the Angels are legit, whether or not we don't have to, but Jose Soriano is a good pitcher. They played well against him. There's a lot of, it's a very Guardians-esque lineup where there are some guys at the top and then some question marks at the bottom. But right now, Tanner is doing his job, which is not what Gavin did yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to go out and take care of what he can take care of. And he is giving, the biggest thing right now, the offense is the offense. We can get into more of that tomorrow. They've had chances, like you said. They haven't had the greatest night. They got the home run from Bo Naylor, which was good. They've only drawn 1 walk. Santana, shocking. That's been their problem last 2 nights offensively. But the biggest thing for them was to get the starting pitching back on track and get things resettled in the bullpen, because you don't want to have to go to Colby Allard and Vince Velasquez, who, by the way, has not been good in AAA this year. We didn't spend any time in Vince Velasquez this year, but He's a guy who's athletic and got a good art, but he's been hurt, and he's walking more guys and striking out in the minors and AAA as he works his way back. That is truly a emergency option for the Guardians at this point right now. The disappointing thing in this game is they haven't hit Chris Paddock. Like they got the home run from Bo Naylor that had 4 hits overall. They drew 1 walk. Chris Paddock hasn't been very good this year. He's a fastball changeup guy though, and that's what usually kills this team.
Changeup struggles this team.
Yeah, and they're still that's the next area. Like Tanner Bibee made the adjustment in this game, right? He came out, had a better game plan for the first pitch, for the first batter, for the team overall. He's adjusted from throwing his 4-seam to using the cutter and the sinker more to keep guys off the straight fastball. Next, the hitting's got to make the adjustment. They have to get better identifying changeups or figuring out pitch mixes. Like changeups continue to kill this team, and they got to hit bad pitchers. You know, they crushed Tanner Houck on Friday, or at least they came back against him and they won that game. They have not hit Chris Paddock so far in this one outside of Bo Naylor's home run. They got to get back to drawing walks too. Like this is last night against Bailey Ober. They didn't draw any walks, barely any. They got to go back to grinding out at bats. I said it was 11, 1 or 2 pitch at bats against Bailey Ober on Monday. I don't know where they are on Chris Paddock, but it's got to be better than that. This team is at its best offensively when they're drawing walks, grinding out long at bats, getting guys on base. That's what this team is built to do right now. They just haven't been doing it the last couple of days, and they have to get back to that. So pitching looks like it's getting back on the right side of things. We need the offense to follow suit. So the end of April is almost here. They're surviving. They're staying afloat. They definitely didn't lose a division in April. That's the bare minimum for a competitive team right now, unfortunately, but it's better than the alternative. You could be the Colorado Rockies, who might win 10 games this year. Thanks, Jared.
Well, and the one thing I'll say too, just as we're running out of time here, very quickly, is so far, through this game, only 4 of their outs were recorded on the 4-seam. Everything else has been the change in the curve, heavily that changeup. And that is just such the book is out until this team shows they can hit a change. They're just going to get fed a steady diet of changes. Hopefully a change can be made in their approach to the change. We want to thank you all for joining us. Tomorrow, we are going to talk more about this game. And we also have the game tomorrow while looking at the 1-month mark and how things shape up. Thank you all for joining us. Remember, rate and review, download, it helps, and go Guardians, go.